everybody, to another episode of Polite as Fuck. I'm Ellie.
Hello. Oh, I'm Erica.
Something new. I like to throw in our names every once in a while.
I never know when we're gonna intro.
Let's kick it off with our 10 and 10. This week we're doing our top Halloween costumes. Like if we could do anything in the world.
If money was no object.
Yes. What would we do? I can go first. For some reason, I've been thinking about this one a lot, but I would love to be the lady that's cut in half in Beetlejuice. So I had to Google her because I didn't know her name, and she doesn't have a name. She's just like the magician's assistant, and that's how she dies, is because she got cut in half on the table.
Actually.
Yeah, and so I just like see her. I see the decorations a lot in the neighborhood. And I'm like, damn, that would be such a good costume. How
really
logically would that work? No idea.
I'm sure someone could figure it out.
Someone could do it.
Really good makeup artist, really good,
Money would help.
some builder, something for movie sets. I don't know what that name is. Well, none of mine are scary. All of mine are like princess. Literally, my first one is mermaid. I would just love to be like a really legit looking mermaid and have like a really cool like little shell bra and like a tail, but actually one that I could still walk in. But like that would look really cool, and have maybe a fun wig that looks like not like a ratty nasty wig. It's like legit.
Yeah, one that's kind of like flowy, and
yeah,
you wouldn't even need to walk. We could just put you in like a fishbowl or something. Money's not an option. I did Morticia Addams. I think just because we finished Wednesday, and I've done Wednesday before, so I feel like top, like great wig, nice robe,
she's
awesome
got some
makeup.
fun shoes.
I know, those shoes were awesome
yesterday.
So yeah, I would love to be her.
That would be a good one. I feel like maybe you'd appreciate this. I would like to be someone from Game of Thrones. Daenerys would be cool if I could have like a legit
like wig
to look like her.
Damn, I didn't even think of anyone from Game of Thrones. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Who would I be? I don't even know. That's a good one. Okay, do you remember a while ago there was a picture circling of Daniel Radcliffe? He's the guy that plays Harry Potter, but as an adult, he was like smoking a cigarette and walking all the dogs. I don't know if it was like him for a movie set. It must be, because there were like 12 dogs. Like he was a dog walker. He had like the dog walker belt on, and it was like a bunch of dogs. He was roaming the streets of New York, and I'm pretty sure he was smoking a cigarette. I don't know. I might just be throwing that in there for fun. Anyway, I feel like that would be awesome. I could just put
have
like
12 dogs.
12 dogs, yeah, smoke a cigarette and just look like not that he looked like a bum, but he just looked like he was just wearing normal clothes, and have like a little bit of a scruff, put my hair up, Luna and Dash, and then just go adopt some dogs.
10 others.
Yeah.
That would be funny. I would like to watch that. I've seen the Princess Diaries costume done on Pinterest so many times, and I've looked into it, but I'm like, to find if you're thinking about the classic cover of Princess Diaries where she has the dress and the gloves and like the old school headset and the tiara, I just want someone to get that for me.
Yeah.
Like find the exact right outfit, do my hair how I think it's in an updo, and like just dress me, please.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so cute and I love that.
Yeah.
But I will not spend the time or money to create that.
Well, no, because if you get it from like Spirit, that you're not going to wear that dress. It's going to be itchy and like so uncomfortable. You would want to find like a nice dress and like nice gloves.
It's like a dress that you would wear to like a semi-formal or something like in middle school. Like that's the style of the dress, that like short, silky or satiny.
Yeah. I love it. That's so cute. Mystique. Did you ever watch X-Men? Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
You know Jennifer Lawrence's character though, the all blue girl?
I think so.
Well, her name is Mystique, and I think that would be really awesome. Just to have like
a latex
scales.
outfit?
Well, I don't know. She specifically talks about it being like painted on her.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how I would do that.
I mean,
again, I would have someone else do it.
Whoever did it for her in the movie could do it for you.
Yeah.
In your Halloween costume.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I think that would be really cool.
Also on my Pinterest, this is just year round. I have pictures of Cher that's just always in my feed because she has like the most iconic outfits and her long hair and her makeup. And I just, honestly, any Cher from like the 70s, 80s, I would be. So if someone could find me her clothes.
That's a good one. My brain, I don't know what it is about recording the podcast, but as soon as we like go to prep and record, every thought leaves my brain. And I get so upset at myself every time I like listen back because I'm like, you are so dumb.
No.
Anyway, my last one is Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. I just think like that would be really cool. I know people can do it, but I'm like, I want it to be done like top tier. The thing is like getting the clothes that look like that. Like again, you can go to Spirit and get the like itchy, most uncomfortable piece of fabric out there, nothing but polyester, probably made of fiberglass actually. And I just don't want that. I would want like a nice outfit.
Yeah. If you're going to spend money on something, you want it to be nice. Even if you're not going to wear it again. I'm like, if I'm going to wear this like twice for the holiday, I don't want to be so uncomfortable the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is also why I just don't spend money because I'm like, I'm not going to spend money on a nice thing if I'm only going to wear it twice. Yeah. But I'm not going to spend money at all if I'm going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking for running too, for our 10K of like Tweedledee and Tweedledum? That would be so funny. We got like shirts like that or something.
I do like that. I saw from Wicked, like the Wicked Witch and
Glinda.
That
would be really cute.
But
then it's like, who's who?
Who's who? Because we're both brown hair girls. My last one, I don't know why I've had this like fixation or love of like is it the 1800s, 1700s? Like I love that. Like
Bridgerton?
Yes.
Okay.
Why
am I thinking? Wow, I'm glad I clarified because my mind went to like pilgrimage. I was like, you want to go backwards to the little wagon thing? I feel like you're scarred from that time.
I don't want to be. I can't even think of the word.
Me either.
Pioneer.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I want to be like in a ball gown. I just want to wear one of those dresses and have my hair be like done in that style. I just want to experience it. And so someone from Bridgerton, from Pride and Prejudice, from any of those type of films.
See, if I were to do that, I would go like way, way back to like Marie Antoinette with like the cage around the hips. And like, and I'm like, if I'm going to get dressed up in a ball gown, might as well like... do it right.
I think that's the same time period.
Is it?
Yeah.
But they're all like,
I just
maybe
don't
just
think
Bridgerton
they do it to that extreme in the show.
In that show, maybe. But that's what I would be thinking. Because like even
like
Pride and Prejudice, yeah, they don't have those like.
That's true.
Whatever that is. I really, again, have no concept of time or history, to be honest.
I know.
With
I'm
you.
like the 1800s. That's
1700s. I'm like, that's a full century in between. No idea.
I literally don't know.
But we all know.
Before the 1900s, I do know that.
Watch it be like the early 1900s. We're like way off.
Hey Siri, what time period was Bridgerton based?
Did I fuck her up?
The early 19th century. So that's the 1800s. Yeah. Okay.
You were right. I fucked you up.
That was it.
Oh, dang, that was fun. Love it. Very quick. 10 and 10. Oh,
no,
not
that was
quite
10.
actually exactly on the mark. Yeah, well, a little bit of a turn from Halloween costumes is
to the horrors of the workplace.
Literally. This has been a theme, I think, in everybody's life and will be a theme in everybody's life. And it's just something that everybody deals with of just like when you just really are not having a great time at your job and what to do. And I've just been thinking a lot about it. I've also kind of wanted to discuss like the difference of our relationships with our careers and jobs, like our age versus our parents' age and how they dealt with it as well. Because, I call my parents for advice and help, and it's just very different, I think, than what I've dealt with and like what have gone through and what I'm going through. So I figured we could talk about it because it's always fun to shit on your place of work. So let's do it.
Yeah, I feel like we did an episode a few years ago talking about like, I don't even remember what we talked about, but I know I was complaining about my job. And I feel like this year, the evolution of what I thought I was going to be doing, what I am doing, what I think I want to do has really changed. Because I feel like last year I took all day. I literally turned my phone off. I went to the beach by myself. I journaled and I was like, what do I want to be doing in 5 years from now? Like, if I'm waking up in the morning and going to a job, because that's what I'm going to be So what I'll have to do, what do I want that job to be? And I wrote down a therapist. Like, I think that's what I would enjoy doing. And then this, like, end of last year, beginning of this year, applying for grad school, not getting into the one I wanted to go to, getting into a different one. I feel like I was like, it's not worth the money to me to change my whole career and to basically start over. Like, I think especially with buying this place, I'm like, I already have a loan that I owe a lot of money towards. Am I going to take out another loan, be making less money than I am now, and go to a school that I'm not even that like excited about?
Yeah.
It was just like the backup option. So I deferred for a year and I feel good about that. But I think it's been interesting because my job, what I've been doing for the last like 6-7 years, changed a lot this year specifically. And like, I'm not doing a lot of the things that I didn't enjoy doing in my previous roles. Like, I'm still in tech. I still sit on my ass all day. And I don't love that part, but like, I am learning a lot and doing a lot of new things, which I think has been helpful. And it's allowing me to like be okay with doing this for another year while I figure out grad school. I have a lot more to say, but that's kind of where I'm at for context for our listeners in my career.
No, I appreciate that because I feel like, we've talked a lot recently about this like idea of kind of struggling with like purpose. And so I have that in my mind while I get ready for my part-time job. And that's difficult because then when I go to my part-time job and things are like frustrating and it's just that dynamic in my mind mixed with like not loving what I do can kind of create this like really deep spiral that I'm trying to just kind of like stay afloat. But I think outside of, I've talked a lot about like how I was frustrated with my choice in choosing social work. And I thought that I had figured out my social work as my degree when I went to college. And I struggle a lot with like, okay, what do I do? Because you guys were here for, when I did work with kids, that was my job. I did do, program like enrichment for before and after school, both in the Bay Area when I lived there. And then when I moved to San Diego, like that was my career. That's what I thought I was excited about. I think moving to a bigger city, I lived in like the outskirts of San Diego, so the school district was different in the way that they do before and after school care. And I think it was a little bit of a shock to see the difference in the city and see the way that the money works and see like the nonprofit side of that. And I just got very overwhelmed very quickly because these are the type of things that like these kind of careers are the careers that are needed the most, but are like the least set up for like success. And they don't really care about their not that they don't care about their employees. It's just the need to like help their employees they're not able to provide. It's just like all around like grants and money and yada yada. And I just got so exhausted with just the thought of it that I was like, I need a break. So I was very proud of myself for taking that break, and I started working in like the food and beverage industry and working at a restaurant, and I feel like mentally the best that I felt in a while, because I feel like I don't have this sense of I'm literally caring for children, but I think the lack of purpose has left, and it's kind of left me feeling like, again, like I don't really know what I'm doing or what I want to do. And so I find myself in the position like, okay, well, I'm okay with where I'm at now, and like I'm getting enough to sustain the lifestyle that I live. Like realistically, it's almost very similar to what I was getting when I had a full-time job without the benefits, unfortunately. So it's like, again, it's like I find myself struggling on like, well, why leave? Because I'm comfortable, you know? So that's been kind of like a struggle, because it's just like this idea of like purpose and what I want to do. I think with that being said, I think everybody, regardless of what they do or what they want to do, struggles with their job. Like it's always just kind of this roller coaster of like, sometimes you have good days and sometimes you have bad days. And I think recently specifically where I work just has not been fun in any way, shape, or form. And I think that has been leading me to think of like, okay, what am I doing? And like, how do I navigate what to do and these are like all the thoughts that I want to talk about. Like, one, if I'm like, what do I do if I want to leave my job? Two, what do I do if I don't want to leave my job, but I'm not having a good time? And then three, which is just like the question of the year, question of the decade, is like, what's my purpose? What am I doing? And like, I'm not here to like really answer that, or like, you know, I don't really have an answer, but I just think it's like, I don't know. It's also just an interesting time of year as well, because it's not the point where people are starting to like look for jobs, but I think it's the time of year that everybody's trying or is starting to reflect a lot. And I think just as, I hate to say it, but like as the new year approaches, like you can't help to think about like the pillars of your life and like career and how you make your money, and the majority of what you do on a day-to-day basis like is coming up more and more to the surface. And I'm like, damn, like I don't know what to do, and I don't know where to go from here. I just know that like it's been more difficult recently than it has been in the past.
Yeah. What was your first question? What do you do if you don't like
your job? So it's funny though, because I've been listening to a few podcasts about it, and like I think of like when someone gives me this like question, I can't help but to be like, well, then leave. But then if someone were to say that to me, I just am like, you know?
I mean, yeah, that's like way easier said than done. Like I didn't like my job 5 years ago, and I stayed in it for 2 more years because it's like, what else am I supposed to do? I don't even have the bandwidth to like cook a meal. How am I going to apply for another job? And when you don't have enough, like, yeah, quit your job, but do you have enough money that you could like get by for like a few months without a job? Because if you don't, then that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, I 100%. I did it, and I don't recommend it.
It's just like, that's real. Then you have a different kind of stress. And then it's like, how can you be, okay, yes, there's like a time limit on how long you can kind of be looking for work before you're like, fuck. But like, I think from my own experience, because that's all I can speak from, is like trying to find another job while you have a job is really hard. So you have to kind of like take other things off of your plate outside of work in order to do that. And also, I mean, we've been talking about boundary setting. Like for me, it is really hard to disconnect from work when my work is literally right there, when my work is on my phone, when someone can message me at any second and be like, hey, we need this. And then I'm working again.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't clock in and out of something. I don't get to like close my computer and my job is done because I mean, Ellie's seen it so many times when I'm like, yeah, I'm done working. And I literally close my computer and then my phone goes off. And I'm like, I'm gonna scream. And it's like, yes, I'm always accessible in this industry and like field of work that I do, but I also think it's on me to like set the boundaries and not respond and turn off my notifications. And I just like the anxiety of it is what gets me because I'm like, if someone needs something, then I am not dependable or whatever. But I also know and work with people who don't respond to me right away, and I don't think anything of it. Especially people that have like kids or a family, and they are like, my counterpart on the sales team is on maternity leave currently, but she also has a daughter, and like I would message her at 5, she wouldn't get back to me until the next day, and I'm like fully understood because she has a whole other like person dependent on her. I think it's hard when it's just you to be like, what's my excuse? Sure, all I'm doing is sitting on the couch, so yeah, I can get back to you. But I guess where I was going with that long tangent is like, if you're very miserable in your job currently, like you have to make space to find a different job. And maybe that means quitting if you feel like you can do that. But like, even for myself, I thought I was going to be going to grad school and I quit my coaching job. I stopped volunteering. Like I made sure that I had the time and space to do those things. And honestly, having this time and space right now, not going to grad school and having the job I do, I feel like I started working more. And I'm like, that was not the point of doing that. And like, why am I doing this? And what am I hoping to like fill by working more? Because I don't get more money the more that I work. I'm not hourly. I'm just literally working more. So I think it's like a question of, I say I don't want to do the job that I'm doing, but then when I have more time, I'm doing more of that job. So what is it actually that I'm like trying to fill here? Like this void or whatever it is. And is it like related to wanting to feel needed, or like you have a purpose or you're helpful to someone and like that is a rewarding feeling? I don't know.
Yeah. You saying like you don't have to clock in or out, I think the biggest takeaway the past like 2 years, wow, yeah. The past 2 years is like, let me regain my thoughts here. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is comparison is the thief of joy. And I think when I was in the job that I had before working with the kids is I will constantly compare everybody else's life and think that like, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. Like I want this and I have this and I'm miserable. And like, how do I change that? And I think leaving that was a really good idea, like really beneficial for me because like I just think that my mental health was at an all-time low when it came to the career, and I think that was the best decision. However, it taught me so much of just like the way that the world works when it comes to jobs and where I fall at when it comes to working, and just like having these hard conversations with myself of like, you can have hobbies and then you can have a job, and like sometimes people are really lucky that both of those can like be side by side, like, or can be the same thing, I should say. But other times it's like you need to have a job in order to live. So like, what are you going to do? And I think that is been like a little bit of a lesson for myself. I think it's also like a give and take. Like there's always going to be things that you like and dislike about certain places. I think just prioritizing what is important to you. And so I think in my previous positions with working with kids, at that time, it was great and I enjoyed it until I didn't, and until it started to affect the way that I interact with like the core things that make me who I am. The fact that I was not answering the phone when my family would call. And like Erica knows, like I talk to my family every single fucking day, every single waking second of the moment. So when I'm not answering those calls, something is wrong. When I can't even go take the dogs outside to go to the bathroom, not just like on a long walk or to the beach, like outside is like, that is detrimental. When I can't eat or get up or have a coherent conversation with someone without being aggravated or upset or crying, like these things were happening. And I think that is when I was like, this is not good for me. I need to leave. And thankfully, even though I did just like get up and leave, I mean, I was done. I did not have something in place. I did not do anything. And luckily, we live in an area that like working in a restaurant and at a bar is like very, I don't know, like it's like a city. It's its own career. It's its own thing. And I feel very like thankful to be a part of that now. But I think, again, without having that lesson from my previous job, I don't know if I would have learned all of that and have been able to gain that perspective without leaving. But with that being said, I feel now I'm at a point where I have to sit back down and reprioritize like what is important to me and really think about what it is I want to do, because I don't want to, I have a tendency of like when things get really uncomfortable in my life, I like to flee and like leave the job, leave the state, leave the country. I've made this joke before, but it's really not a joke because I do it. And I feel that tendency in myself. And I think recently I have just been like, I want to leave. I'm going to rage quit. I'm going to walk out. And I just know that that is who I am. And I just need to like stop saying that because I know that I'm not going to do it because it's not good for me. So I have to sit down, and hearing other people talk about their jobs and their like pros and cons and what they do has me sitting down and thinking of like, okay, well, what it is, like, what is it that I want to do, and what is it that like my goal is, or things like that. And those are things that I'm trying to work on in therapy, honestly, because I'm struggling with like lack of purpose in career, because I'm not ready to like give up certain things in order to have like I'm not willing to go back to school yet. You know, I'm not willing to drop everything to go back into the social work realm of things because whatever, I'm not ready for that. So I have to take all of that into consideration when I think about my job now. And even hearing you say like, I don't clock in and don't clock out, like that was a big thing for me in my life before this job, is like I would take it home with me all the time. And I couldn't do it. I can't do it. I don't want to do it again. I draw that line because it really stressed me the fuck out. I don't like it. And I remember having a conversation with a coworker when I did work with like the nonprofit, and they were saying like, you have to get an Apple Watch. Like, it's just so nice. You have like your email right then and there. And I remember being like,
No.
I would rather die. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing
that's
that.
Horrible advice.
No, it really was. And I just, because I think it was just like the accessibility and wanting to be there. And I understand that because it is so helpful in that, especially when you're running around with kids as like a assistant or as the like program or like whatever site director, like you have to be able to have all of those things. And that was great. But I didn't have that trait of like recognizing these are my work hours and then turning off. Like if I got an email, I'm reading the email. And I know some people can get that email and be like, no, that's a tomorrow. I just don't, I wasn't that kind of person.
No, because then it's taking up your brain space. Like then that's all I'm thinking about. Even if I don't reply, that's all I'm thinking about.
It's there. And I can't do that. And so here in this job, like, yeah, there are so many cons that I have, but sometimes the pros outweigh the cons, because the biggest pro is I go on and I am there and I'm motivated and I'm whatever the case is. All the biggest shitstorm could happen and I can leave and it can be done. And I think recently I've noticed that I have been like carrying it home. And I think that has just been like a conversation with myself of like, how do I deal with that, and let it go at the door. But I am very grateful that like the job that I have now is really like least amount of stress, least amount of worries. Like I made this joke recently of like, if I make a mistake, or what did I say? I was basically comparing my job and the stresses of working at a restaurant of like my mistake isn't gonna kill someone, because I remember there was a situation that happened when I work at the school where another program had left their like peanut butter crackers everywhere, and I had multiple students with severe peanut allergies, and I just remember being like like panicky, and then someone was like, don't you work at a restaurant, don't people have like severe allergies there? And I'm like, oh yeah, like duh. So I can't really...
Adults can also die.
Yeah. But I'm like, I just, it is silly, but I'm like, it really is like least amount of stress in that sense. So it is like this like give and take. And I think when it comes to just like this conversation of like what to do when you hate your job, of like, Ellie, do you really hate your job, or is this a stressful moment that happened and you don't have the coping mechanisms or the boundaries or like the way to speak about it or deal with it, and now that's making you hate it? And I think that has just been like a revelation recently, and something that I'm glad that we're talking about now, because it is true. And I think a lot of the times it is like an perfect opportunity to do some self-reflection. And I think sometimes I have this idea of like, oh, I'm going to find the perfect career and everything's going to be great. And that's just not the way the world works.
That's a huge one, because it can be so easy to have a horrible day at work and be like, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm quitting. Then I'll get in LinkedIn and start looking at jobs, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be so much work. Is it really that bad?
Yes.
Or do I just need to like go on a walk,
Yes.
And like, I can attest, I know the difference, because I've been in a job where I'm like, no, this is actually the most toxic work environment, and I have to leave because every day my soul is leaving my body more and more. And like, I cannot do this anymore, versus... it was a shitty day. It was a shitty week. This was a stressful, like, campaign that we were working on. That sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now it's the next day. It's the next week. Whatever. I'm okay. Everything's fine. And that piece is like, yeah, the grass is green where you water it,
Mm-hmm.
Like, having worked, I'm just speaking to, like, in tech in general, having worked in tech for... I don't even know how old am I? 29? I started working in tech when I was like 22, 23. Whatever. It's been a minute. So like, and I've worked at a few different companies, and like, they all have the same issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the same issues in like a different font. And it's learning, the skills that I can be like, okay, I'm like, this is an issue. It is not we're gonna go bankrupt tomorrow issue, so I'm going to go on the camping trip I planned. Mm-hmm. Instead of like 23-year-old Erica who would be like, I can't go on this camping trip, I have to figure this out. And it's like, no, that is literally not that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. And you can take the space and take the time that you need. You also said something that made me think of... I think a big reason why I'm okay with deferring grad school right now is because I think about just like what I want my life to look like. And while purpose is a part of that, it's also like when I was meeting with my financial planner before I decided to defer, and we were talking about, I have my mortgage. If I go to the school I got into, how much that's going to be to pay back after I get out. How the difference in like just looking at the average therapist, or the middle, therapist income, like fresh out of grad school, compared to what my salary is now, how much of a difference that's going to be, and like mapping that out. And I'm like, as much as I would love to fill the purpose of helping people, I don't want to actually be like, I'm okay tightening the belt and being like very strict in a budget. I've done it before. I feel like I need to do it more now. But like that, walking through that, I'm like, that is scary, and it's not worth it to me. And I know what I want my like life to be like, and I'm not going to be working X amount of hours to be taking like literally so many steps back in the life that I've built for myself. It just is not worth it. And I think about like, okay, I can apply again to SDSU, which is, I'm not even kidding you, like $20,000 versus like $100,000. Like the cost difference is just so insane to me that I'm like, I'm fine going into more debt for that, but not 5xing that amount, because paying that back is just like my day to day. Like, I like to get my nails done occasionally. You can't tell right now because they're horrible, but like, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to go out to dinner with my friends on a weekend and not be like, I don't know. That is not something that I want. So I'm not going to sacrifice that for this like need to get to where I think my purpose is faster. Because I feel like I can find it, and I've been finding it in like this new role that I've taken on in work, and that's been really helpful. Even though it's not like, I don't feel like I'm necessarily saving the world in any capacity and helping better people. At least I feel like mentally stimulated and feel like I'm learning something new every day, and that is also like a value that I have. So trying to find those outlets, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think most recently I've just been, talking with both my parents, just asking advice and just kind of talking with them about where I'm at, and even talking with my siblings. And I think talking with my sister, I'm just like, damn, it's growing up. I feel like I got very lucky with my parents because my mom, I felt like she had a calling and made it very clear what her calling was, that she wanted to work in the healthcare system no matter what. She's had different jobs. She's been an ER nurse. She's gone back to not only get her master's, but her doctorate. She's worked in like the school system. She's worked at, all of these different places. But overall, like her job has been a doctor, has been a nurse, has been taking care of people. And she's done that my entire life since I can remember. My dad, same, like it's a little different when you're in the military, but growing up, when you think of like jobs and careers, it was like my dad had his calling, his purpose, and that was the military. He had multiple, like I remember conversations growing up, not in our family, but in different families of like whether or not they're going to be getting out of the military or whatever. And that was never really, at least I can't remember it being discussed in the family. It just felt like, no, this is dad's job. That is what he's going to go do. And I think like in my mind, and I think in a lot of people's mind, it's like you go to school, you get your degree, you do what you're going to do, and then you do that job for 50 years and then you retire. And I think that that's just not the case for everybody. And it's difficult when I call and ask for advice when, my mom's done the same job or my dad has done the same job. My dad literally does the same thing he does now as a civilian, not in the... I'm like, you couldn't even escape it. Like you left and then you came back.
It so much.
You love it so much. And like, I'm so happy. And I know that is like, so, and I don't want to diminish that. I know that has been, they've had their own roadmap and paths and stuff, but like, I just see it from my perspective and I get jealous because I'm like, damn, I don't feel like I have that. And it makes it very difficult. But it's also just like, I think I now have had this conversation with more and more people, and I realize that like, it's changing a little bit of like, some people will be in a career, be in a position for 3 to 5 years and then be like, I actually want to build my resume and go somewhere else. Even if they're doing something like they still have the same background or whatever, but like maybe their title they kind of like move up and down the ladder, I guess. It's not even really a ladder now. It's just kind of this like thing. And I appreciate those conversations because it makes me feel less like fuck, like I really, you know, fucked up. And I think where I'm at now in this job is like every time I think about, you know, leaving the restaurant, I'm like, okay, well, do I go to another restaurant? And then give myself anxiety because I'm like, I'm not like, if I'm going to leave, I might as well leave to go do something. And then all of a sudden I'm back at this spiral of, oh my gosh, what's my purpose? What am I going to do? So I think it's just like I said before, it's just been a lot of self-reflection and a lot of, is it really that bad? And I know what bad is. Exactly what you just said of like we've been there. We know what bad is because I can tell by like my body will tell me when bad is and like what I'm able to do. And I think also just, you know, realizing that like I have myself to take care of and what I want, like what is important, like you mentioned, like, yeah, going out to dinner and like getting your nails done and like taking care of the dogs. Like these are all things that I want to do and that I'm not willing to give up in search of something that may not even fill my cup the way that I want it to. And so like, it's this opportunity and this conversation has been really helpful because I'm just like, I don't need to make decisions based on my rage. And I think it just has a lot to say about how I deal with stress in the workplace rather than how shitty the situation is. Now, I think once I get like in the nitty gritty of it, like, yeah, there are things that I can change and things that I can do, but that is just like my own conversation that I can have with myself. But it's just funny of like, when I come home and I'm like, I fucking hate this. It's just like, you know, again, like the grass is greener where you water it. And that is like, okay, if that's really how you feel, what steps am I going to take to change that and what that looks like?
They had this thing at my last job, my last company, where like they called it the career jungle gym. Ooh. And I thought it was kind of cheesy, but I also thought it was interesting because I've never heard it phrased that way of like, there's the like ladder that you can climb up in like okay, let's say I want to be in marketing and I love marketing and I'm just going to stay in marketing and I go up the ladder versus like, okay, well now like my job has moved more into like operations and I'm really enjoying that. So I like took the swing or whatever. And then like, you know, maybe if I become a therapist, I like go down the slide because I'm literally like getting off of this area of like tech and going into like another part. And it's so cheesy, but it is like that's kind of what it is. And it's not, taking like, you're not like going down the ladder. You're just going to like a different area of the jungle gym, if that connects with you.
100%. I'm a very visual person and that's very helpful. And I think I wish I knew that growing up as well, because I think I just had it in my mind differently. And so I feel like I've failed when that's just not the case. So.
And I think it's like your purpose or whatever doesn't even necessarily need to come from career. It's like, where are you spending your time and what do you want that time to like bring you and find fulfillment? And I feel like for me, the reason why I've said purpose and work is because I literally will work for like 10-12 hours a day and I'm like, I just spent so much time doing things I don't care about. So if I'm going to be spending 10 to 12 hours a day in a job, what do I actually care about? But it's also like, you could find that by maybe working less in your like career, me setting better boundaries and doing other things outside of that fill my cup or like help me find purpose, whatever. It doesn't have to look like, okay, your job is your passion.
Yeah. Which has been helpful to remember.
Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, this was helpful and positive. I was a little fearful that I was going to come on here and be like, I did it.
Fuck word.
Yeah.
But also sometimes, I think one thing that's getting me through, and this is what I will end on, is like, I really am just trying to think about like living in the moment and also like, what do I want my like days to look like? now and in the future and trying. I think you said this like a few episodes ago of like romanticizing your life or whatever and thinking about like reframing even like simple things. And I am trying to do that because it's like literally my day to day is all I have. So I can't be living so far in the future of like what I want 10 years from now Erica to be. And yes, I can think that, and I would love a home and not having our little hall monitor neighbors, but I would also like, how can I enjoy where we're at now, you know?
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
That's a great way to end.
Okay, great. Well, you
also,
know where
my
to
eye
find
is
us.
like fully twitching right
Oh,
now. I don't know if
no.
you can see it.
I can't.
No, okay, never mind.
Okay. We're gonna drink some water and get back to it. But Polite as Fuck Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.